Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghair maghdubi alayhim. Wala dwalleen. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Sanada Kamara, co-founder of Temple Mother Earth, sending love, peace, and abundance prayer to everyone around the world.
Peace, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Moorish Monday with Abdullah Mosi Bey on Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids, YouTube. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hit the like button because I know you're going to like the show. Let people know that we're live. All right? Share. Let them know that we're on right now. What you'll see across my screen for the next 2 hours is my website, moorsandmasonry.org. Moorsandmasonry.org is my website for my books, Moors and Masonry Part 1, Moors and Masonry Part 2, How Our Venus and Moon Rule, Etymology and Vocabulary. The Etymology and Vocabulary Supplementary 1, the Masonic Complex of Square and the Connection to Measurement and Timekeeping, and the Illuminati and the Illumination of the Mind. Go to moorsandmasonry.org. Now, the scheduled guest, Dr. Powerton, had a emergency situation at his job. So we have another guest, Crip Jesus. I called him 20 minutes ago, and he was able to. He agreed to come on, so he should be backstage soon. So he will be joining me tonight. So he and I will be doing the topic for the night is ancient Christianity. This is the new topic for the night, ancient Christianity, with Abdullah Mosi Bey with my special guest Crip Jesus, and he'll be joining us shortly. So I thank y'all for your support. I want to thank Brother Hank for his support and opening up this platform, Moorish Monday, to me a year and a half ago. There is a Human Rights and Nationality Conference this Saturday, June 21st, in Brooklyn, New York, at the Brownsville's Heritage House from 12 to 6. We'll actually get started at 1 o'clock and to go until 5. And so this is the flyer is on my Abdullah Bey Facebook page, as well as others. So we've been sharing that we had the Save the Day flyer that we've been promoting for the past 2 months. So the actual flyer was put out yesterday and posted on my Facebook page. That is this Saturday at the Brownsville Heritage House in Brooklyn, New York. Sister Luisa Flores is the mistress of ceremonies / hostess for the event. So Luisa Flores was one of the keynote speakers of the Moorish Political Unity Conference in Philadelphia on May 18th, 2024. And she was one of the keynote speakers. She also was one of the guests. She was in the March 24th. She was on, and she was as one of a conduit for facilitating Moorish history education, Moorish nationality, and Moorish political unity education. And so she did a 2.5-hour presentation that is on the Magnus, on this YouTube page, Magnus Crystal Pyramid. So if you have not seen it, let people know that was on March 24th on this YouTube page, Luisa Flores. And and we also had Brother Quasi. Quasi was on in May, and he was one of the panelists. Quasi He won one of the panelists at the Moorish Unity Conference in May of last year, and same topic, a conduit for facilitating Moorish history, Moorish nationality, and Moorish political unity education. So check that out. But I said, for Luisa Flores is the hostess, mistress of ceremony for the nationality, Human Rights and Nationality Conference this Saturday. Is this Crip Jesus backstage? So once again, the topic is ancient Christianity. For those who are just joining the platform, the scheduled guest, Dr. Powerton, he was supposed to be doing a book review on my book, The Masonic Complex and Square and the Connection in Measurement and Timekeeping. Dr. Powerton is a master mason, a Shriner, and he was he read my book a couple months back, and he actually wrote a book review and posted it on his Facebook page, and I shared it several times over the past 2 months. And so he had an emergency situation at his job where he could not get off on time. So I reached out to Crip Jesus 30 minutes ago. And so he should be joining us shortly. Brother Hank, you see Crip Jesus backstage?
Nobody's there, brother.
All right. So can you let me see what's going on with him. Can you just give it this?
So I'm just going to do the opening.
Yeah,
videos.
Yes. Let me give him a call.
Putting out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
I am activation. 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 I am activated.
All right, we're back. He's not. I just talked to him. Said he was getting on. Hank, you don't see him backstage.
He ain't backstage. I don't know where he's at.
All right. Hold on. Peace, everyone. He should be back. Wow. Hold on, Hank. Let me see what's going on.
All right. Let me hold it down, Islam family. For those who may not know, I'm Uncle Rising Son, also known as Uncle Hank. YouTube channel, Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. I'm a product developer of various magnetic devices like rings, magnetic bracelets to magnetize your blood. too many of us are doing the neglect. Too many of us are neglecting our health. Heart attacks from accumulation of chicken grease, oxtail, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, because we are not working the way our ancestors did. But we still eating the food like we're gonna go outside and plow a mule. So listen to the various shorts about Kinkaliba tea to polish your blood vessels so that you can match your mental what's the right word, aptitude, with your physical vitality. I just heard a brother friend heart attack in the hospital. Somebody else diabetes related illnesses. That's all about blood flow. You start getting some diabetes, family, you in trouble. This week, Thursday, 8 p.m., we're going to have the honor of having a published author, attorney, master herbalist named Professor Haru, talking about how you can get healthy and how the establishment of so-called doctors are pushing petroleum-based drugs. And they don't care about you any more than you care about a roach. So listen in this Thursday, 8 p.m. He's going to give you a history of the medical establishment and the present effective remedies from all various maladies. Because what good is mental acuity if you ain't got any health? So let me disappear. And here is Brother Abdullah and his featured guest. Peace out.
All right. Thank you, Brother Hank. Greatly appreciate you. I want to give a great honor and thanks to Crip Jesus. I know it's the last minute, brother. He answered the bell 30 minutes ago. I called him, and that's when I found out that Dr. Powelton would not be able to be on. So I did reach out to him. I want to really thank the brother for answering the bell. He and I were on yesterday. Crip Jesus was on for the first 30 minutes on Khalifa Society Instagram page, Khalifa Society, Mafi Ill. He had me as the guest. Ancient Christianity was the topic there, and Crip Jesus was on for the first 30 minutes. So I thought it would be fitting for us to address the same topic, and we'll be able to do it in, so he and I will have more time together on to address the topic, because as he was on for the first 30 minutes with me. So the new topic is Ancient Christianity with Abdullah Il Talimos Bey and my special guest, Crip Jesus King Ill. All right. Crip Jesus, I know you were on the platform a couple months back. Can you give us some background? Your topic was off the chain. I learned a great deal, and just give us a little summarize your topic that you were when you were on the first time.
Well, peace of divine family. It's thank you for having me here. King El Allah of the 5% Nation. I earned my L, Rivers L, in the Moorish Science Temple. My platform is known as Crip Jesus. I am from LA. Grew up, in that gang culture. Did a lot of time in prison and got to knowledge of self while in prison, and continued the journey while I was out. So for those who've heard about me, especially in the last 5 years, especially in the LA area, they kind of been watching my journey in real time. And during that time, I kind of had a intersection of information dealing with BMF, as far as everybody knows, Black Mafia, and dealing with Islam and the history of the Black Mafia in Philadelphia, and then dealing with Moorish science, learning the etymology of the word itself and the family ties that drew back to the true bloodlines of the Al-Mafiri, who were some of the first brothers and sisters and Moorish brothers and sisters from the East that fought in not only Egypt but especially Sicily, Morocco, Spain, Portugal, and more memorably in Sicily and Italy, where their family name Al-Mafiri became the name Mafia. Right, we talked about that last time. Basically, it's a lot of information like that. The other thing I talked about, I'm real kind of known for letting people know how about in my book how I talk about one of the founders of Crip went on to become a Grand Sheikh named Anifu Kareem Bey, and he wrote a constitution for the Crips that they don't follow, which could be their downfall. Like just different sciences that kind of bridge the gap between the youth, the streets, and us, who would be considered to them the generation before or the elders, and also either not the streets. Maybe some of them see us as elite or as standoffish. My goal is I found in my journey that a lot of us are scared to talk to the youth, and the media kind of feeds off that, and they perpetuate into that. They kind of encourage a kind of an ageism type of divide between the youth and the former generation, always being in competition, always pointing out each other's differences. I strive with my literature and my content and my books, my music, to bridge that gap. I'm not here to be the top author or the top next rapper or any of that. I'm here to I seen what the problem was in my community, and I'm here to lead the way in fixing it, So in my opinion, we're very much caught up in the media due to a lack of culture. My thing is about culture more than anything. So I just found that the mafia word and lifestyle was very big in the Black culture. So I wanted to address that and show them that even there in criminality, you find Moorish science again being watered down, which is the same thing we find in Christianity, which is what we're here to talk about today.
Brother Crip Jesus, you made an interesting point, and I want to elaborate on that about the divide between the youth and the elders. And you pointed out that it's the lack of knowledge of our culture. So when you know how somebody makes a statement and things start flaring off in my mind. They flare off in my mind. And I just wanted to elaborate that point. He's right. So it's not so much the age, because that's been banging. The age, it's the age difference. It's the age different. It's the age different. It's the reason the age different. Is it that? Or it's the lack of the knowledge of our culture? Because if we grew up with the knowledge of our culture, that same culture is passed down. What's embodied in the culture is the more ways, the folk ways, and how we see the world, and that's passed down. So there would not be a divide. There wouldn't be a divide. A 70-year-old or a 5-year-old. Where's the divide? You have the same knowledge base, You have the same basis, the culture knowledge. 10 years old, a 70-year-old, 80-year-old, or 15-year-old.
The separation, that's true. And I did say that. But now that you're talking, I think it's more about, and we touched on this last time, about separating the intelligence from the militants. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like anything dealing with standing on firm beliefs or doubting something, or being strong, or maybe even violent. They want that don't match with intelligence. So it's to separate the two. So now it's like either you like this nerdy type dude that's extra peaceful to where it's not logical, or you're like this over violent thug that doesn't read at all. You know what I mean? It's the caricature.
Yeah, and I'm with you and that's due to the lack of our culture, though. That's due to the lack of not being raised. We're winning that, like yourself, myself, and those who are listening to us. Our experiences is different than that of the Chinese. Meaning that, let me explain. We came across the knowledge about who we are and are at an adult age, So we don't have the experience, like we don't know anyone. You may know somebody whose parents, were Moorish conscious and they were born with that, with their parents being an out. I'm not talking that. I'm talking like the Chinese being raised in a community of conscious Moors, going to the schools with all conscious Moors, going neighborhood, all conscious Moors, restaurants, all conscious Moors, malls, all conscious Moors. We don't have that experience. The Chinese do. The Chinese have that experience of being raised in the schools with all Chinese, malls, going to playgrounds, all Chinese. No one that you know have that experience. No unconscious or conscious Moors have that experience. That's where I'm coming from. So anyone like myself, like Crip Jesus, we became conscious during our adult years. But I'm not talking that. There's no conscious Moorish communities anywhere. Anywhere. There's no conscious Moorish community anywhere. Anywhere. Where you're raised up from birth in a community doesn't exist. All right. So we can't see it from the lens of a Chinese. We can't see it from a lens of a Senegalese. We can't see it from that lens because we don't have the experience. We don't have the experience. All right, so that's where I was coming from.
Oh no, I agree completely. That's why I ain't even got nothing to say on that one. That's just plain and simple fact.
Yeah. So we have to restore that. We have to restore that national consciousness. The calling, the race paradigm of black, white, red, brown, and yellow set in place by Francois Bonner in the New Division of the Earth in 1684 suppresses the national consciousness or inhibits the growth or the restoration of national consciousness. Because black you don't see a flag, doesn't tie to a flag. It doesn't tie to, you don't see that in the Constitution, the people of the black nation. It doesn't tie to a national coat of arms, a national seal, a national anthem. It doesn't, so it inhibits us to reconnect to our national consciousness. And so this is strong. So once again, we have the conference. The conference is sponsored by the Moroccan Post School of Government International Law, the Human Rights and Nationality Conference. Once again, Sister Luisa Flores is the hostess, misses the ceremony of the Human Rights and Nationality Conference at the Brownsville Heritage House this Saturday, June 21st. From 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so we're going to delve right into the topic, ancient Christianity. Now, one of the points when we talk about I'm going to address some misconceptions. And I was one of them, the Afrocentric folks that I call my Afrocentric brothers and sisters. And I love my Afrocentric brothers and sisters, and they do mean well because I was one of them. So they do mean well. But one thing that they're missing is the origin of religion. But they'll, like I did, they'll see the Europeans wearing our mitre, the Pope wearing our mitre. They'll see these different European images, Santa Claus, European image, Santa Claus, and they'll say, that's the white man stuff. That's the white man stuff. Like they'll throw they'll throw the baby out with the bathwater. They think they have arisen. They think they have, they got this new energy and that, yeah, that's the white man. Christianity is the white man religion. You know what I mean? Christmas is the white man's, Easter, that's the white man, these are white man holidays. And they just go, not knowing the origin of it. I did the same thing. So I can talk on this. I did the same thing. So they'll say, you'll hear the misconception. The white man gave us the Bible. The white man gave us his religion. Those are false statements. Those are false statements. The white man gave us the Bible, false statement. The white man gave us religion, false statement. The white man gave us the cross, false statement. Those are 3 false statements. The topic is ancient Christianity, and I want to start off by putting out false statements. By addressing these false statements. Let's analyze them, and we're going to show that those are false claims. Those are false claims. The Europeans gave us religion, or the Afrocentric folks won't say Europeans; they'll say the white man. Those are all false claims. And what I found that there's no real. And my dear brother, Bear Shingle, Shingle's title of his 2-volume book, African European Holidays, African People's Mental Genocide, European Holidays, African People's Mental Genocide. Well, that's I'm going to put that title out there too. That's a misconception title, because he said European holidays. There's no European holidays. They don't exist. So he's saying the European holidays and African people's mental genocide. The mental genocide, and Crip Jesus and I talked about this yesterday on Khalifa Society. The mental genocide is the demonization, and Jesus really broke it down so eloquently. The demonization of our culture. That leads to the mental genocide. Not European holidays, because European holidays don't exist. It's the demonization of them. So they claim our culture, distorted, repackaged it. They repackage our culture. They claim our Christianity. They claim Christianity as their own. They repackaged it and presented to us in the form of demonization. That's what our people. So it's not when you repackage something, you take the pure, you take it out of its essence, and you repackage it. It's no longer Christianity. Like, there's no modern Christianity. Like, you're either pregnant or you're not. There's no almost pregnant. There's no half pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not. It's either Christianity or it's not. If you take it from its essence in its purest sense, it's no longer that. All right, so I just want to set the foundation of today's topic, ancient Christianity. Crip Jesus?
Yeah, I want to touch on that because I agree with what you're saying, but I'm gonna throw in there is the thing with the word Christianity that people have a back and forth on is the name. You get what I'm saying? So it's like some people will be like, well, you had the followers of the prophet, then you had the Catholics, then you had what they call it, Tawahidu, then you had, right? So some people will say, well, the name Christianity and Christians, right? But here's the problem with when we throw everything in a pot and just leave it like that, because you're right. So I can talk from experience. My middle name is Christian. So when I first started learning about, why are we celebrating the dude getting hung on the cross, and why is all the images white, and start questioning, things that were considered standard, it was like questioning my own existence. And once I went fully against what I was taught at first, my mom used to search for different truths. So it kind of felt good. That's that white man stuff. Let me tell you how to move. So, you know what I mean? It felt good to say that and throw it away. But here's what you'll learn after a while is you have to know the science behind things. You have to know the mathematics behind things. So let's start with Christmas. Christmas is one that people love to jump with. Oh, that white man, ain't no white man slide down no chimney. And that's true. Right? Let's go in my book, The Blue Bible, on page 109, I write, holidays are the biggest distractions in the devil's religion. For example, the character named Santa Claus is based on a great Moor named Saint Nicholas. He was not of the people of Adam. He was an Anatolian. They are the ancient Turks who forced the people of Adam into the Caucasus Mountains. So here we go, when it goes into what you said. When we get back into our culture completely, you see there's things being suppressed and hidden here that have nothing to do with mythology. They have nothing to do with mysticism. It's our direct culture. Why did they put Santa Claus on here? Exactly. So then we have to get into the mathematics. That's just dealing with the name and etymology. So the mathematics is December 25th. And that's the winter solstice. Now, all of that gets suppressed and hidden and wiped away with Christmas. Right? So if you just go for the black, white, let me pick a side thing, they got that version for you. You can go get St. Nicholas. You can be happy. You can be Afrocentric, and you can stop there. And you can limit yourself there. You can freeze at, at the 6, equality. You got yours, I got mine. This the white version, this the black version. But when you go deeper into it, like you said, you get the science. You learn you're supposed to be fasting around this time. You're supposed to be in tune with the earth and what's going on with the movement of the planets of the sun, moon, and stars. That's Islam. So now we get into, let's say, Easter. So they're going to come through, the Black Power dudes going to come and say, they got you in there praying to them bunny rabbits with them eggs, and they didn't fool you. And I'm not against that, because that's dealing with awareness. Because if you are so far gone into being part of what we call the 85% and just following blindly, then you don't even question that. You're not aware of that. So I do agree with sometimes starting there to wake a person up. But here's the problem. If all you do is limit there, then maybe you go join the Hebrew Israelite, no disrespect to them, shout out, but then you get on the corner and yell at everybody, the Easter fake. The Jehovah's Witnesses will get you with that. But like you said, it's about, do you limit yourself there? You feel what I'm saying? So some people go a little deeper. They go into the European Masonic information, Ishtar. So now they have a different religion. Their religion is into the darkness. So it's like, did you know it's really Ishtar you're worshiping? And they're going to come hunt your house, and the eggs are going to wake up and get you, and you're going to have bad luck. And this is why the lost tribe and move out. Okay. But once again, we get to the mathematics and the science, you ask yourself, why is Easter different every year? What's the phenomenon really being measured here? And you realize it's spring. It's the celebration of the earth springing back into life, right? So when we put the math to these things, they become very simple and logical. And that's what I believe from the conversation we had yesterday that we mean when we say ancient Christianity. We're using the word Christianity to get you to understand we're not talking about the science of Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him. We're not talking about the science of Buddha, peace and blessings. We're talking about the science that's all been delegated and heaped onto the name of Jesus, whatever tribe he's supposed to be connected to. You get what I'm saying? This story in the Bible, there's an ancient science, ancient history that goes with it. Beyond the characters in the books, we're not here to argue about that all day. We're saying a practicing, formulated church of people in these holy lands that they're talking about in the book using these books as part of their culture that look like me and you. We claim to believe that this went down. Yeah. But when it's time to break it down, we say, oh, we got their books here. Oh, they spoke Arabic. Oh, we got the translation. Oh, wait. When you come through with the feds, you said, look, you can show the pictures, what they dress like. Wait. No. Is it that we've become so drunk with the slave story that we only want the ancient slave story? Oh, we was the ancient Jews building the pyramids for the man. Listen, the truth of the matter is there's a 1,000-year gap in the history of anyone who agrees with European history. Because according to the Europeans themselves, they have a little something called the Dark Ages. Okay? And they claim themselves that for 1,000 years, they couldn't even read. That the Moors had to teach them to read and bathe. So who had the books during them 1,000 years? Us. Therefore, even if we just say Christianity for Christianity's sake, and this is a conversation a lot of the Black Power brothers don't want to have, even Christianity for Christianity's sake, the version of it when Constantine was around was us. That was him joining us. That was him coming to the table with us in Egypt and sitting down. How I get my hands on these books, man. Before that, when they made the Septuagint, they had to come sit down with us and translate it, right? So this is basically the reason why the Bible was not even allowed to be read by the public for a long time. And when it was, they had to corrupt it and put the white pictures and this, that, and the other, because we all know from our own experiences, the science within it is obviously passed down from our ancestors. And for those that have come up under, because I'm going to be real with you, me growing up in the ghetto, I got that spell more from like Malcolm X, Farrakhan, Nation of Islam rhetoric, where it's the white man's book, the poison book, the white man's religion, the white man's Bible. But I was taught in the 5% Nation, where we actually studied the lessons of Nation of Islam, that who wrote the Holy Bible or Quran and how long ago? And the answer is the Holy Bible or Quran is written by the original people, who is Allah, the supreme being, original people of Asia. You feel what I'm saying? So meaning that even in that school of thought, it is taught that we are the originators of the books and others corrupted the books. It's just like playing telephone. You start with the source of the information. As it spreads through each teacher, each written version, it gets more watered down. But when you throw the baby out with the bathwater, now you got people running around talking about they on demon time, forget the Bible, forget the Quran, forget the religion, that's their stuff. You see the result of it. You get Chicago, you get South Central, you get the Bronx, that's what you get when you take religion out all together. When you take the whole structure, whole history and all that out all together, instead of just saying, oh no, I realize what it says now. I realize this is what it is now. Some people seem like they learn these books just to argue against them. You didn't take none of the wisdom out of it? You read the Quran, you still dirty. You want to argue with us about what Surah Whoop-de-Whoop say? Come on, man. You're not getting it. I meet Muslim dudes with dirty hands and feet. I don't understand how if they're praying 5 times a day doing wudu. You get what I'm saying? So it's the culture, man. It's the culture. Even with the Moorish science, like with the Al-Mafiri thing, I came across that because I'm not scared to study the actual Moors. Not saying we're not actual Moors, but you get what I'm saying? Like, let's go back to this time period. Let's look at that 1,000-year gap. But yeah, so that's how I look at it. So that I would say that 1,000-year gap, right? Right before the Dark Ages, Constantine tried to get Europe into knowledge of self through what we now call Christianity. That was really him coming to Egypt and sitting down and getting his hands on some books and some civilization. You feel me? And if y'all think the white man gave us religion, that's funny, because really we gave him religion. We taught him Christianity. He wasn't allowed to learn Islam. He had to get 33 degrees of Christianity before he could even touch Islam. That's the facts. That's the real facts. He couldn't even know the name of God, Allah, until he got to a certain degree.
Excellent point, brother, about our teaching them. And we go looking at there's a 3-volume book the Moorish Empire in Europe by S.P. Scott, volumes 1, 2, and 3. The Moorish Empire in Europe, that was published in 1881, and each volume is 600 pages long. So you're almost looking at 2,000 pages of work. Very good books. I highly recommend it. Once again, the Moorish Empire in Europe. You can Google that and probably you can download the entire. I think all 3 volumes are available online. But spend some finance and get your hard copy. Get your so you can actually fill the pages. You can actually underline and highlight the pages. So I got all 3 volumes. They're not expensive at all. That's the Moorish Empire in Europe, volumes 1, 2, 3. Notice it's the Moorish Empire in Europe. It doesn't say Moors in Europe. It's the Moorish. So I just want to, I like, how I teach critical thinking. I like to spur critical thinking. It's not the Moors in Europe. The Moorish Empire in Europe. And what does that mean? Government structure. So it has the various Moorish dynasties, and within the Moorish dynasties, you have the caliphats, the caliphs and the caliphats, or the emir and the emirates. So you're looking at Moorish government structure, not just. And the reason I'm doing this, Edward Scobie did not talk on this level. When Edward Scobie writes about the Moors, he writes, or Africans in Europe. When other scholars, when Moors classified as Black, Negro, colored scholars, write about the Moors or Africans in Europe, they come from the perspective of that we were quote unquote slaves, and that we rose out of that position and we became painters and we rose to nobility, and so the Edward Scobie and the gang, they start us with we were subjugated slaves, and then we contribute, we have great contributions in Europe. They come from that perspective. S.P. Scott, a European, comes from perspective of Moorish rulership in Europe. Moorish rulership and a Moorish what? Educating the Europeans, Moors establishing schools and payrolls. Not, we were slaves and the Europeans welcomed us into their society. And that's Edward Scobie and the gang. That's not S.P. Scott. That's not the Europeans. So when Europeans write, and you say, well, remember, Europeans were not writing for us to read the books. S.P. Scott did not write those books for us. Let's be clear. So, well, Abdullah, why would Europeans write the truth? Because they're writing for other Europeans. The Europeans need to know the truth. In order to maintain power, the Europeans need to know the truth. They weren't writing the books for us. S.P. Scott, when he was doing the research, writing the books, he didn't have us in mind. Let's be clear. He didn't have us in mind. This is, you talking about 1860s. He didn't have us in mind. All right, so let's be clear. So they get to the heart of it, the actual truth, and they position us in rulership position, the Moorish Empire in Europe, for over 711 to 14, that's for 1,500 years. Or what? So 800 years. 800. I'm saying 800 years. Yes.
See, this is where they keep us trapped in the religious box, though, because check it out. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, is born in the late 500s, according to the Gregorian calendar, which puts his physical existence in the early 600s. Meaning, when Tariq ibn Ziyad came into Europe and initiated the Mohammedan, let's put this all the way into perspective. The Mohammedan takeover of Europe in 711, that represented, let me say it again, the Mohammedan takeover of Europe from 711 on to 1492, representing 800 plus years. That, and within that box, they trapped the word Moor to mean African, Muslim, Black. Here's what we're doing today with ancient Christianity. Ancient Christianity stretches back before the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him. So now, what you're going to do if you don't have the Mohammedan paradigm? So now, let me show you this. So now we go to the saints themselves, who
Brother,
are
you're doing a great job, brother. Yo, he's doing a great job. This brother is a scholar, man. Oh, I love this brother, man. I love this brother.
Now we go to the saints, who are essentially the deities of Christianity, early Christianity. So it is no coincidence that one of the first saints of Christianity, who is still a major saint of Christianity, not only today, but especially in the times of heraldry and having those royal garments and pieces and stamps. And what you'll find here is the brother Saint Maurice. So he's not only one of us, but his name is Maurice. Saint Maurice was under the dictation of the Romans. This is where it gets tricky, because like you said, when they speak on the Moorish power and science and strength, they go straight to the time of Islam, which is beautiful. But now, since we're talking about ancient Christianity, let's show how in the Roman Empire, the reason Constantine had to do what he had to do is because we still held much cultural precedence over the Romans, who maybe conquer in the sense of military at the time. But it's just like we under military occupation right now in North America, and we still control the music. We still control the fashion. We still have the pulse of the culture. So at this time, what we today call Christianity was called the Christians were called the Coptics, which is extremely important to this conversation, because in the Roman tongue, that would be like calling them the Egyptians. So yes, to all you Black Power Afrocentric dudes, the answer you were looking for was Moorish science the whole time, because if you look at it from the Moorish paradigm, understand who and what we're talking about, you will understand that these original followers of the Messiah were called the Egyptians. Now, the problem is when you're looking at it from that baseline, low vibrational way, you're looking for the actual word Egyptians. So let's get into the science here. Now, page 109, my book, The Blue Bible, and I'll leave my number of information wherever they can tap in with me for a copy. It says Saint Nicholas was a Coptic bishop known for giving gifts. Coptic. Still, Emperor Diocletian incarcerated and tortured him. Emperor Constantine freed him in order to learn his teachings. So the knowledge that he possesses, the culture he possessed, was still dominant, was still imminent, was still what led to the Mohammedans having so much precedence over everyone. After 300 years of murdering Coptics, the Roman emperors joined them in 312 AD at the Council of Nicaea. So 312 AD, the AD means after death, right? So this is not according to my story, but according to their own story, they're saying we were already going up against Islam, the ways of the peace, the ways of the ancestors, to a point that we were forced to hang one of the messiahs, or at least we thought we did, according to what the Quran says. Now, 300 years later, Constantine, our own leader, is joining in with y'all, right? Because it kept growing. And by the time you get right before the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he wasn't the first one that even started that train of thought, because they had the monophysite, when they were having an argument within Christianity whether to see Jesus as the Trinity or
Yes.
that conflict was already growing. The Moors were already dressing like this, and we're already saying it's one God. You see what I'm saying? The Quran that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, we already had that. And it says that in the Quran, the knowers of the book, the people of the book, who had already been revealed to, right? So, yeah, exactly. Shout out to
Excellent, brother. Excellent.
325 AD, Council of Nicaea. So that council is the most important, because you have to put the council into perspective. You can't just say that's the white man's council. Who came to sit down with who to learn what? And what you'll see is a lot of these backdoor deals that you see Diddy making with a Arista or Suge Knight making with Jimmy Iovine, and it's been going on. These were the hot tracks back then. I'm not trying to even be funny. These were the platinum records back then. These books, they were rhythmic, they were tones. We don't know that now. But these were songs. The Quran was a song, and it was the hottest track. You feel what I'm saying? So these representative labels trying to sign them.
Love it. Man, oh man.
Now what they do, they sign you. They want to get your likeness, they want to get your name, they want to get your voice, and they want to get rid of you so they can say you're dead. We signed them. Let's resell it now. That's what they did to Muhammad, peace be upon him. That's what they did to Isa, peace be upon him. That's what they did to all of them. Moses, you don't get none of Moses' story in this story. It say he born, you go up the river, he pop back up, he catch a body. Now he catch a body, he on the run. Sound like a hot blockbuster movie to me. It ain't no difference with the rest of the prophets. You get the same type of story. Jesus, they take the 18 years out. That's when the Ali, peace be upon him, he says in the introduction to the Circle 7, he says, these lessons were held by the Muslims of Egypt, Palestine, and India until the right time. Until the right time. You see what I'm saying? So these bits and pieces of information are there amongst our people in these temples, in these palaces. They let them go at the right time. To who? Not to everybody, to us. So when we received those 18 years and they were coming through the ghettos of North America, right? They were for a reason. You see what I'm saying? So the reason being is that when you take the ingredients out the story, you got to look at what they did to the story. That story is basically, whether we realize it or not, telling us to be scared to be gods. Because it's saying, look at this man born, then he was a fugitive. Then he came back, then we killed him. Now we're the cross of us killing him all day. And we held him up as his martyr. And all our heroes, they keep that narrative going. They keep us thinking that way. They never want to show us conquering. They never want to show us having all the children and all our wives. They never want to show us having our land and our gold and our, you know what I mean? Even when we get into the Moorish science, a lot of our people, and I dare say this, I'll take it there tonight. A lot of our people fear getting into the actual history. They like the science and feeling good, but the actual history, how many people were killed? How many people were, no, the dominance scares them. They hear about our ancestors actually owning people, actually going to war and chopping down bodies. They don't want to hear that stuff. They want to hear about us in sandals with incense, kissing and hugging the trees and all that. And that's cool. And we've been at war for a long time. But for our next generation and for our future generations, they need to understand their dominance and their strength. Because when we look at these other races, that's what they have. That's where their pride comes from. Okay? Some of our people feel like they got to go kill and hurt because they think we never have. We never defended ourselves. I'm riding for all the rides. It's like it's a lack of balance there, right? And what happens is it gets to the point where we can't understand our history anymore because it has been so mythologized. You know, that's the wrong word, but that's not even the word. But you get what I'm saying? Like it's just been turned into such a cartoon, you know, and you gotta understand that when you get into that, once again, I'm gonna stick to this, that missing 1,000 years, right? When you get into that, what you find is Genghis Khan didn't have the most children. It was a brother named Ishmael bin Sharif, and he didn't live no 1,000 years ago. You get what I'm saying? So it's so much information directly to us that's missing. What about the Barbary Wars? How many of our grandparents was in that war? You know, it was just it was just about 100 and some years ago, right? And it's
Yeah,
so
1805 to 1815.
yeah, you know. But look, that's on paper, right? But I look at it like this: did it not continue? Because right after that, you have a continuation of wars with all Moors all through the 1800s, on sea and on land. So I look at all of that as the wars of the Berbers, Barbary Wars. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't want to go too long.
No, but no, I want you to. No, brother. That's why. Hey, you doing it, brother, and I'll jump in. But this is good. So if you want me to, I mean, this is good. So let me set this. Let me set this. Let's analyze this title here. The Cross and the Crescent. The Moors and the Age of the Crusades. The Cross and the Crescent. So what they depict. See how now I'm going to see how that distorted the cross and the crescent as if we're battling each other. So they'll get us as the crescent and then the Europeans as the cross. Well, the cross is the Egyptian diameter. This is ancient Christianity. The cross is the Egyptian diameter that's placed in a winding shaft with notches on it. That where they were record keepers were kept. So when it flooded, they had the flood lines. So with the notches represent where the flood line, when it floods and that water rises in that shaft, all right, they're keeping meticulous records, famine, inundation, all right. So there's record keeping. So you can forecast, for the past 10 years, we've had inundation, and then, you're doing your forecasting, you're doing that math, patterns. It seems like every 10 years, there is a famine based on 500, 700 years of records. All right. We're going to be using the cross, the tau, the diameter. All right. So now they have, and then you have the crescent, which is the moon, the crescent moon, which is the first quarter of the moon. So crescent denotes the first quarter of the moon. There is your 28 days cycle. The moon revolves around the earth in 28 days. There's 4 major moon phases and 4 minor moon phases. So you have your new moon between the new moon to the first quarter moon, 7 days. The first quarter moon to the full moon, 7 days. The full moon to the last quarter moon, 7 days. From the last quarter moon to the new moon, 7 days. Is there 7 days in a week? No, there's not 7 days in a week. Man, this dummy, man, Brother Hank, don't bring this brother. Brother Hank canceled Abdullah. You need to cancel this dumb behind Abdullah Bey. Abdullah Bey does not know what he's talking about. Abdullah Bey said there's not 7 days a week. Yes, I said it. There's not 7 days in a week. There's 7 days in a week in a lunar calendar. See, nah. It's not 7 days in a week. 7 days in a week in a lunar calendar. It's not Abdullah Bey. It's counting. It's not Abdullah Bey. It's you going outside and you count from the new moon to the first quarter moon. 7 days. That's where the 7 days come from. It's not Abdullah Bey. It's called math. It's called counting. It's called observation. It's not called Abdullah Bey. It's called observation. It's called counting. And I actually did that. I actually counted. I did that for several months. I counted the days. I counted every day. I observed. I did my own observation by observing. Oh yeah, there is 7 days. Yes, I read it first, but what I observed it to confirm it. So now I can get on here and say, oh, you do the same. So it becomes your own. So it's not Abdullah Bay. So this is where I'm saying there's not 7 days in a week. There's 7 days a week in the lunar calendar. You have your 10 days. Your 10 days, your 3 weeks, 10 days. Your 3 weeks and 10 days, your deacons. Deacons is 10th. So the deacons were used to measure at night, the night sky. So deacons that means decade. That means 10. 10 days and three weeks. You have your 10 days, 1 week. 10 days, second week. 10 days, 3 weeks. But 7 days ties to the lunar calendar. So they just say 7 days in a week. They just make this general statement. They indoctrinate us into the general statement. There's 7 days in a week. That's not true. There's not 7 days a week. 7 days in a week in the lunar calendar. See what we're doing? Ancient Christianity. Ancient Christianity. So once again, that taking us off. So we got to restore the knowledge and continuing. So the cross, so they'll pick the cross and the crescent against each other. Yeah. See the cross, you know what I mean? You got authors. Yeah. Like this. Yeah. The cross and the crescent. The cross and the crescent. Yeah. See the cross versus the crescent. Why versus? Where's this versus come from? You're talking about the crescent moon. You're talking about Egyptian diameter, a measurement tool. How can you verse? How can they fight against each other? How can a ruler, Egyptian diameter, a measurement tool, measuring device, the towel, the cross, fight against the crescent moon? Help me out, y'all. How can they fight? See what they done? You see the distortion? How they distorted the culture? Got you thinking that the cross is a worshiping, something to worship. So you don't know that is a measurement device. And they got you thinking that the crescent is some image. It's the first quarter of the moon. See, we're taking it to its origin. So this is what etymology has given me insight to analyze things like that. I became obsessed, y'all. I know. I'm a nerd. I know. I was obsessed. And I just started asking what's the etymology of this? What's the origin of this folklore? What's the origin of this? And I was obsessed. What's the origin of this word? What's the origin of this mythology? What's the origin of this folklore? I was always, and you know what? I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I did that because I started questioning everything. Everything. I got on people's nerves. I started questioning statements. I started questioning sayings. I wanted to know the origin of this statement, origin of these comments, origin of this. I got on my coworkers' nerves because I no longer just accepted anything. I questioned everything. And that stimulated my mind. That constant question, constant thinking, all day long thinking stimulated my mind. I worked my mind while I sleep 24/7, working my mind. That's how it didn't just happen, my brothers and sisters. I had to work it. It didn't just happen. But the word education, Education means to lead out, to bring out that one's innate ability and talent. So it's already in me. I have a Virgo moon. It was already in me. So it's like by working it, I'm what? I'm bringing out that which is already in me. That's my makeup with that Virgo moon, analyzing, heightened analyzing, critical thinking, analysis.
Facts.
And I needed to do that so that I can what? I can go into literature. I can analyze. I can think. I can help bring a people who dead mentally, politically, culturally. I can connect with brothers like Crip Jesus, Shem Malachi Bey. I had worked with Tajiri Bey, Luisa Flores, King Albay, Israel, Quasi, Ill, and others who came, others upon others, by Sirius Ill, Al Patah, Brother Hank, Ankh Rising, and others. Brother Crip Jesus?
Yes. And I wanted to go back to what you're talking about, the separation of symbols and sciences. See, the same thing happened with Blood and Crip, believe it or not. When you look back, and I talk about this in my book, I found that the original Crips called each other Blood, because blood is just a term that all Moors used to call each other. What up, Blood? What up, Young Blood? What up, Blood? You still see people from London and England that talk like that. What up, Young Blood? Right? So what this was even cuz was a term used heavy in the South, right? So what this was these were two terms used by us a lot. They pitted them both against each other because there's a loyalty to both, and then by putting them against each other, there becomes a bloodshed between both that makes the future generations believe there's no connection, that it's like forbidden, right? So it's the same thing with the red and the blue. It's the same thing with the 5-point star, the 6-point star out in Chicago, right? But here's what I found interesting. The cross, actually, in Christianity, not ancient Christianity, but modern Christianity, like you said, there is no modern Christianity. So what is modern Christianity? It's a bunch of people who have coming up pledging, claiming to be Freemasons. You come to find out they're secretly like Satan worshipers and stuff, and they're running these churches, using these organizations to, drain the banks. Okay. So now we got that established. This would be reason for them to use Christianity to do two things in one fold with the cross symbol, with the white man dying on the front. For one, they demonize the cross to make you believe it represents death. It has nothing to do with astrology, it has nothing to do with science, it has nothing to do with geometry. And at the same time, they tell you that the enemy of that is the crescent moon star, which makes you against Islam and against astrology. They're really knocking out 4 birds in one stone. But when you put it all back together, this is what you get. Now, we were taught that this was Hindu. I mean, no, my bad. We were taught this was Nazi and Hitler and evil. What you'll find is this is Hindu. It's deeper just than it being Hindu about it being Indian or of the darker people or fellow Moors. There's a mathematical science to this that you were just talking about, the 7 days a week concept. The point of this is to say that upon observation, you will see the sun rise and set was counted as 7 times every time you see a quarter of the moon. So if you keep counting this, you see it for the next quarter of the moon. You see how it's shaped here, how it goes from the quarter with the 90-degree angle here to another degree. So what it means is it goes from 45. It goes from 90 to 180. This represents the movement of it. So this is the moon becoming from crescent to full. Now in this cycle, your woman will begin and end her menstrual cycle. So this cycle was very important to all households. It had nothing to do with a clock or a machine telling us anything. It had to do with pure man, woman, and child observation. This is how you created life. This was how you maintained life. This is how the household was held down. In some cultures, during the time of the woman's menstrual cycle, she's away from the home. So this had a lot to do with how the household was held and structured. On top of that, it had to do with how procreation was held and structured. You knew by this measurement, if she wasn't having her cycle, she was pregnant. So a lot of information came with this. Now, on top of that, by separating them and putting them at odds with each other, it makes it limited to where even if you master the science of the 4 sevens, you may be missing some of the astrology, maybe missing some of the lunar aspect, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Because you see some dudes who come in with all the mathematics and they say, I know the truth. The Bible is sun worship. The Bible is sun worship. They come with all the sun stuff and they don't want to listen to you and they know all the truth. And it's like, what about the lunar? What about what about the stellar? The 25,000 year measurements and all of that. 25,000. Who was around to measure for 25,000 years? See, it gets deeper and deeper. So what we learn is that we have to observe, we have to look, listen, observe, and respect. And the respect comes giving adherence to all the aspects of all in all. You feel me? And just to say one thing, if this sounds a little spooky to y'all, this actually is very important. This is where Islam comes in. Why is the Muhammadan version of this so important? Because we can't believe, and I use the word believe on purpose, we can't believe that, I'm not going to say our ancestors, the people in Egypt were always the same people. If you get what I'm trying to say, we watched this country change faces in just a few centuries. You think them people there for thousands of years? It's documented. I'm asking you, but it's a rhetorical question. It's documented how the management changed. Management, right? Meaning this for a reason. If someone was to look at a book 1,000 years from now and say, what race were the Americans? And they saw a picture of Donald Trump. And they say, oh, there you go right there. That's what a lot of us do with Egyptology. We look at a picture of a pharaoh and say, oh, that's what the people were. Look at it. It's like, bro, slow down. I know it's a lot, but if you got respect for this culture, you're going to take your time and take some years. That's why I said years to study it before you start giving all these opinions. A lot of these dudes hop on the internet, hop on the, you know what I mean? So this is the point. Islam, which is the science that Islam grew from, which goes back to what we've been talking about the whole time, the development before Prophet Isa, leading up to him. In that time, before it and after it, there have been idol worshiping, meaning that when you look at Egypt, you see the god of this, the god of that, the god of this, the god of that, the god. It doesn't mean that they didn't practice Islam. I mean, they fell away from Islam. They believed in the one God at first as well. Amun. Amen. They knew about Allah. How do I know that? Because the way you say moon in the ancient Egyptian tongue is La. And the way you say the is Ah. Allah in their tongue meant the moon. So they had very much to this science. So it's no coincidence, right? Now check this out. Now, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, what people don't know is because of the word Moor and the word Islam, they get scared and they think, oh, they must not deal with Jesus. Not knowing that Jesus, or Isa, I should say, his true name, which is the name that was given to them at the Council of Nicaea, is mentioned in the Quran more than anywhere else. So when we understand that this is not about going against Jesus, but actually about standing up for Jesus and standing against those that killed Jesus, goes back to what we were talking about with the record labels. Rome tried to sign Jesus, and he didn't want to sign. Remember, he came and said, I'll offer you the whole world. When he was fasting, he said, I don't want that. He didn't want to sign. So it's kind of like what you see with the Nipsey thing and all of that. They got their hands on his likeness, but not before he died, after. When they went down and sat down and Constantine made a deal, they said, we're going to give you his likeness, his name, his story, some of his followers, all of that. And they remixed it, right? Now, in their remix, there's something missing that you notice. You notice that in the New Testament, it's 18 years of his life missing. After he turns 12, the story doesn't start again until he's 30. So what happens to these 18 years? And who got him? Now, People who are into masonry and esoteric, they'll say, yes, in the Aquarian gospel. Okay, but where did that come from? He didn't claim that he just sat down in a cave and Allah told him to miss in 18 years. No, even the brother who compiled the Aquarian gospel claims that he went to the Middle East and was given these books. He translated it. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings upon him, has a source as well. Now, if you go to point 35 in writing Moorish literature, it says, the Egyptian adept student, Professor Drew, gives an address, 181 Warren Street, Newark, New Jersey. It says, I am a Muslim. Why is that important? Because now we understand the religious confusion. The Muslims are the ones in possession of this information. Professor Drew is a man who was born with divine power. He was taught the adepts of Egypt. I have the secret of destroying the germs of tuberculosis and cancer of the lungs in 10 to 30 days. Also give divine instructions and interpretations of the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. Also have 18 years of Christ's life that is silent to your holy Bible for all those who desire to know more about Jesus the Christ. So why would the Egyptians have this? Well, the Egyptians is who Constantine went to in the first place to get the story of Jesus, to have the New Testament, to even be able to remix it and do anything with it. We always jump straight to the remix. Where they get the song from, the remix in the first place. So when you find out that the first followers of Jesus, the first churches and all of that were called the Coptics, you found the word Coptics as Egyptians. This should bridge the gap between the Hebrew Israelite, the Egyptian enthusiasts, the Moorish brother. You feel what I'm saying? It's our love to go against Christianity, because when we seen our families afflicted, that makes us throw the baby out the bathwater and not realize it's one source for all of this. So just real quick, on page 69 of my book, The Blue Bible, I wrote, Egypt's autonomy ended with Cleopatra VII, final native ruler. Her first child, Caesarion, Little Caesar, was the son of Rome's god, Julius Caesar, and the stepson of Rome's leader, Marcus Antony. Their family's bloodline was a mixture of Macedonian, Greek, Roman, and Egyptian. During the donations of Alexandria ceremony, Caesarion was granted more land than the Roman emperor Octavius Augustus. While Augustus was Julius Caesar's nephew, he was not the true heir. So out of jealousy, the emperor ended the entire Egyptian dynasty. Jesus was born during the rule of Cleopatra. One of their common enemies was King Herod, whom Rome had hired to rule over Judea as the king of the Jews. To establish his authority, he married the Maccabees matriarch Mariamne because she was the true heir of the Holy Lands. His jealousy of her family heritage eventually drove him to murder her and his own sons with her. Herod initiated a birth control campaign ordering the death of all sons. His program included abortions, and it was known as the Massacre of the Innocents. He feared the birth of a savior who would free the people of Judea. Following the death of Queen Miriam, Rome took over the Mediterranean Sea. There was no resistance until the Palmyrene Empire's Empress Zenobia. She was a direct descendant of the family of Cleopatra I. See, they took the women out of all of these stories because at this time, so many of the men had been hung and conquered. It was a lot of the women in power. A lot of them were ruling in place of their sons. All of this is erased out of the story because what I just said, the family heritage was the Maccabees. Was another books that they took out and they had their council, the Book of Maccabees. Come on now. The dictators of Rome destroyed our holy lands and holy books during their occupation. They enslaved our ancestors and barred their children from receiving knowledge of self. It wasn't until Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, gave us the Quran that we remembered. That's to take something and put the members and pieces of it back together. We remembered the lost names, stories, and culture of the gods. The prophet's family, because remember, we just started thinking they were the gods. We started worshiping all that stuff. We forgot the bloodlines, the names. The prophet's family was wealthy, and they owned slaves. His closest companion was a slave named Bilal ibn Rabah, whose mother was an Abyssinian princess who was kidnapped and forced into slavery. Her name was Hamama. Here goes a source. I just gave you a source for Jesus, tribe of Maccabees, Queen Miriam. This is where we get the real history and story what was going on there, right? Because we got King Herod. But also in the story of Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, you have Bilal. Why is he so important? They like to limit Bilal to just being some slave who called prayer. No, Bilal was the child of an Abyssinian princess, not just a noblewoman, a princess. She had direct knowledge. That's why he knew how to sing the song. That wasn't a new song he made up. Islam is ancient. It has no beginning, no ending. That part of Islam, no disrespect on Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, but before Bilal, they was practicing Islam in secrecy. They were scared. It was like some cult secret stuff for them. Bilal said, no, that's not how we do this. La, 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 la. You get what I'm saying? That was us. That was ancient science. We brought back to the frontier. You dig what I'm saying? So what they've turned Christianity into now, devil worship. Same thing they turned hip hop into. Same thing they turned rock and roll into. Same thing they turned the food into. A death style. You know, now I land the plane there.
Woo! You know, Luisa Flores and I, just before we came on, we were discussing about we have at the upcoming conference, the Nationality Human Rights Conference on Saturday, June 21st, and how we need to present ourselves, the Moors, presenting ourselves in a manner that truly represents us in a higher light. You know, so and the research said that the world is watching us. You know, the world is watching us. And I was thinking about that, brother, while you were, you know, deliberating. And you are a great example, you know, how we need to study and how we need to articulate, how we need to present. You know, it's too much of so and so said. That's lazy. Look at Crip Jesus. How he goes into the books and he's well studied, he's well read. That lazy of that just Googlers. It's too much Googlers. And you mentioned this, brother. You know, we'll Google and we'll get the first thing that comes up. And then I'm a scholar. You know what I mean? I did the research. Man, I researched. Man, you ain't researched jack. This brother here, I spent 20 years of researching and writing Moors and Masonry Part 1. 20 years of reading treaties, letters, 6 months in the National Archives in Philadelphia, 4 months copying the treaties in the Consolidated Treaty Series edited by Cobb Perry, I found in Rutgers University, 3rd floor, Camden, New Jersey Law Library. The Pennsylvania Historical Society, where I found an additional letter, spending 5 or 6 months there. I did scholarly research. I'm not a Googler. I'm not bragging. I have to let y'all know so y'all can really. I want to be an example. Jesus is an example of what we need to be.
Because there's a certain level of way that you express yourself is deeper than just the information you obtain. There's a certain level of the manner in which you express yourself after so many hours of reading, studying, copying yourself. And you notice too, with all the debating going on online, there's a certain level of respect you're going to have for somebody if they're really well studied and you're well studied as well, even if y'all don't agree. You know what I mean? Because you know what it takes to be that. And when you see,
Thank you. That's why the respect is there, because I know what it takes. Because I've been through it. I've done it.
Exactly. And when you see the dudes that's just like blah blah blah, I don't care, shut up.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, man.
Y'all can't come from the same world we come from, because it's, you know, it's a mutual respect amongst the real studiers. We know what it takes to really, and then there's a mutual curiosity. I really want to hear what you got to say, even if I don't agree with you. I'm curious how you're going to articulate this. Like the dude who can't barely understand what you're saying probably don't really care. You know what I'm saying? But I could, you know, I'm curious because I want to pick it apart and return and respond to it. I can't do that if I can't hear you.
Yeah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, please share, let people know that we're on. We have 35 minutes left. This is really good. We're heating up. All right. Please share, like, and subscribe. All right. My website, Crip Jesus, put right now at this time, put your number, where people can reach you, your book title, and how they can get your book. Put that in the chat. So I'll
Okay.
talk a little bit, and while you can put that in the chat, please support Crip Jesus. His book, Blue Blue Illuminati. Is it
No, it's the
Blue?
Blue Bible.
The Blue Bible. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, I see it all the time on Facebook. Wow, the Blue Bible. The Blue Bible. Yes, so he's going to put his information on how you can get his book, The Blue Bible. He's going to put that in the chat. Please support this brother. You know, he came on at the last minute. You know, I just needed, so I said, wow, and it was just, it just worked out. You know, that he was available, and we are getting a treat, my brothers and sisters, to have us on together. You know, where we feed off each other. This is some awesome energy.
I put my
Awesome
number.
energy.
They can hit me directly because I'm all damn. It don't let me. Okay.
They put it up in the chat. All right, so he's putting this information in the chat. All right, please take that down. Purchase his book. You see how heavy he is.
I don't know when I put the number. It ain't. Let me see.
It doesn't show. What do you mean? You just type it in the chat.
I know. I'll figure it out. Hold on.
All right. Yeah, I'll continue to talk. My website, Moors and Masonry Part, moorsandmasonry.org. Been strolling across the stream. If Jesus is putting information, like I said, please like, subscribe, and let people share. And Hank always has he has like 4 or 5 days a week, has different hosts on the Magnets Crystals Pyramids YouTube page. Once again, this Saturday, June 21st, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. We'll actually start at 1 o'clock to 5. Sister Luisa Flores is the Mistress of Ceremonies, hostess of the Human Rights Nationality Conference. We'll be live in effect at the Brownsville Heritage House. Louisa I don't have the address in my address. The flyer is on Abdullah Bey's Facebook page. On my Facebook page, I'll be sharing the flyer several times a day for up until Saturday. Up until Saturday, I'll be sharing the flyers several times a day, reposting, pushing it out. You know, I've sent it out to quite a few people, over 100 people between yesterday and today, and continue to do so. So we'll be in the house, live and direct. All right. Once again, Luisa Flores, who was one of the keynote speakers at the Moorish Political Unity Conference here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on March 18, 2024. You can also see her video on this platform, Magnets Crystals Pyramids, March 24th. You can scroll, you'll see that. It was a live video, and she actually talked about, as she's a conduit of facilitating Moorish nationality, Moorish history, Moorish political unity education. She has grown. I've known the sisters for the past year and a half, and we'll work closely for the past year and a half now. And she's grown immensely and into the knowledge of Moorish history, Moorish nationality, and she is truly a conduit and facilitating. We have merged our contacts. Quasi-Ill did. He was on the platform, founder of Tribe Jimba in March, and he's saying as he's a conduit of facilitating Moorish history, Moorish nationality, and Moorish political unity education. We're also part of the nationality, human rights and nationality for our children national campaign. We'll have the banner there at the conference. All right. So once again, please support. Check out the flyer. All right. So did you get it in, Crip Jesus? You better put that information in the chat.
Yeah, it's not letting me put it in for some reason. But I can tell people to go to the blackilluminati.com, like literally.
Well, see if somebody else could do. Tell me your number. See if can someone put his information in the chat? Tell me, put your give me your number.
I said, let me just tell them, y'all can look me up. Y'all can Google me, Crip Jesus. You know what I'm saying? The number is, if you want to write it down right now, 213-667-1094. Whatever you want to hit me for.
Do it again. Just do it slower. Just to say this slower. Go ahead.
213-667-1094.
All right.
I have 2 books, the Blue Bible and also the Black Indian Wars. Both
All right.
good in dealing with the history of
Oh,
our
that's right. I have seen that too on Facebook. Yes. All right, go. We got 30 minutes. We have 30 minutes left. All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you haven't done so already. We look at so let's look at I want to set this the devil. Now, when you see the horns, you see, the horns, what I mean? Ooh, that's evil. They doing the horn sign and Beyonce, and them and they Cardi B and them and see they doing the horn sign and what I mean, the horns, the horns, ooh, they devil worshippers, the horns, ooh, ooh. All right.
Yeah.
What's the origin of the horns?
So
What's the origin of that? So let's look at that. The horns. Well, you have the crescent moon. Let's look at the crescent moon. And let's look at a goat. A goat with the crescent shaped horns.
Yeah.
The goat with the crescent shaped horns and the crescent moon, first quarter moon. Well, that gory looking creature doesn't exist anywhere in the world. That gory looking creature, but a goat does. A goat can be found in the zoo, can be found in the wild, can be found on the farm. You can see that, but that creature they call the devil doesn't exist. So you see how they demonize our culture. The goat is a symbol of fertility, woman, power, fecundity.
We're gonna go here today, though,
because it's tied to the moon. So this horns, but so you have the Church of Satan. The Church of Satan uses as their symbol a 9-foot goat, 9-foot goat statue, 9-foot statue. They call it the Baphomet, is sitting in the chair and he has the two children, one on the lap, all right, and he has the winding two snakes, two snakes intertwined. You see it's right there. You see the science. Now, I put some of the blame on the Church of Satan because they're not telling the people the origin of it. They're not telling the meaning of it. They're just allowing the constructive meaning to out there, right? So Satan is Saturn. So see how they take our culture? You have the heavy metal that Europeans who deal with heavy metal. They wear black. They don't know why they're wearing black. They're like 14 years old. They don't know why they're wearing black. They don't know. They don't know why they have the snakes and they don't. They just why they wear the black. The black is tied to the moon. Black is tied to the moon or Satan or Saturn. So you have your Saturn cult. And you have your solar cult, the white robes, your solar cult, and you have your black robes, your Satan or Saturn cult. You said, well, Jesus and the devil are fighting each other. Let's break this down. Jesus is the solar calendar. Jesus is the sun, S-U-N. The devil is the moon. So you have the lunar only calendar and the solar only calendar. So this is this distortion. So, but people can't. And etymology has really helped me with this because I just started really analyzing. It gave me the insight and skills to be able to break words down to comments, to be able to analyze, to stop and to think. To get out of the box. I wanted to be out of the box. I didn't want him to be in. In fact, I was having a conversation with Brother Glenn about not wanting to be in the box like everybody, not following the crowd. And those who think out of the box are called crazy, are called nerds, are called eccentric, you know, and that's fine with me. That's fine to be called crazy and nerdish and eccentric. I mean, I'm doing something right. That out of the box thinking, this is those who think out of the box liberates the people. But I understand people are afraid. This is why we need our unity to strengthen numbers. Because people are afraid to be considered criticized. I've been through it. I went through it with family members, co-workers, friends, laughing at me, mocking me, condemning me, criticizing me. But it gave me strength. The more they mocked, the more they criticized, the more they did it, it made me stronger. But everybody's not me. I understand that. You can damage people. Everybody's not me. So what people do, this is what people do. Well, people laughed at me. People condemned me. People criticized me. It didn't bother me. You cannot do that. Don't generalize now. Do not generalize because it didn't bother me. It was unfair for me to generalize, to say because it didn't bother me, because I was struck. Don't generalize because everybody's not me. You can damage people like that. That is dangerous to do. You can damage people by criticizing, by condemning, by mocking them. You can hurt them. You can kill their joy. So everybody's not me. I'm clear on that. Everybody's not me. So I don't use me, myself. Everybody's not going to study like me, right? Everybody's not me. So it's dangerous to do that. I hear people do that a lot. They say, well, I did it. I did it. I did, they use themselves as a measuring stick.
I want to go into the devil as far as the symbol, right? The symbol of the guy with the horns.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting to talk about this so long. And the fact that it's here under the topic of Christianity and Jesus and ancient, it's so perfect. So, you know my background, so I came through certain schools before I got to the Moorish science. So I know I first come across this in hold on. Can you hear me?
You good? You good?
Hear me? Okay, yeah. So I first came across this in the 5% lessons when it said the devil uses the name Jesus to shield his dirty religion. So what that made me realize is, okay, if the devil's shielding his religion and he's worshiping Satan or the devil, whatever he wants to call it, he's trying to throw us off, then who is this figure? Who's this guy with the horns? What's this, right? And what I came across was etymology, brother. The first rulers, first of all, alhamdulillah for Prophet Noble Drew Ali for breaking us out of the spells. So a European is not a white person. That's the first mind game. They did not originate in Europe. They did not originate under the title European, even if you do give them that geographical location. Therefore, who is the European? Some of the first so-called descendants of Europa herself, this goes into deep study, would be one of those men would be named Minos. Is he real? It's not about if he's real or not. What's real is the civilization of the Minoans. So if the Minoans come under King Minos and the Minoans have a civilization, and we're getting into etymology, would they not demonize them later on? Yes. And the Minoans include to be under the culture of the Phoenicians. Why does this matter? Now we're getting to where they get their language from. Hooked on phonics, Phoenix, phonetics, Phoenicians. Where was their capital? Tyre, tyrants, those who ruled over them. Okay, so this goes into the legend of the Minotaur. who's had horns on his head, but the body of the Minoans, right? Okay, it gets deeper. So as we go deeper into this, we start to see that everything from the red to the 5-pointed star that they flipped upside down and said was the devil. You know, when I first got a Moroccan flash, everybody used to tell me, "Hey, that star, what they isn't that the witch stuff?" And see, so let me show you this, page 46 in the Blue Bible, right? The Roman Latin people are not indigenous to Europe. They displaced the original people of West Asia during the Punic Wars. The ethnicity of those families was Amazigh. The strength and beauty of their women inspired the legends of Amazon women. Prior to settling in Europe, the Caucasoid people were forced to live in the Caucasus Mountains by Lord Narmer, right? They named him Minos, Menes. From his legacy was born the myth of the Minotaur. It represents the strength of the original man in the form of Amen-Ra, the bull. So you notice in those who came when they connected Amen and Ra together and made the symbol of the goat, right? It was like their ancestor was this man with these horns. Now check this out. This is mentioned in the Quran, believe it or not. It's called Dul Qanan, right? The two-horned one called Dul Qanan in the Quran. To challenge him, the Christians created bullfighting. So when they finally got the Moors out of Europe to the highest degree they could, they celebrated by bullfighting, because there was a time where the bulls with the horns was our pet. So whether it be the ram, the goat, the bull, the original man, the Moorish man specifically, because there's many of original men, but which one did the Europeans encounter? And when were they able to actually speak and document it? This is only in the time of the Moors. This is why the Moors part is so important, because there's no other part of their history they have even documented. And at this time, one of our greatest, just like the pit bull dog, one of our greatest representations was the animal with the horns. The horns, you know what I'm saying? And you see it not only in culture as far as dealing with animals, but even in, like I said, in the Quran itself, going all the way back with Dul Qanan, the character. So this symbol was never a symbol of the devil for us. It was always a symbol of a great ancestor and power. And they, once again, demonized it, you know, just like they did with the 5-point star. And also, oh, my bad. Also, to the crescent, to the horn being represented by the crescent on the head, you see that in the flag of Mauritania still, with the crescent moon pointing up, and you see it on top of the head of the Egyptian god Khonsu. Khonsu has the crescent on his head, which they call the moon, Allah, long before you see it on any flags or any other symbols. You see it on Khonsu's head as horns. You got it?
Yeah, this is the brother. You can see he's well studied, you know, and we need this. We need, and this is why I'm using this Moorish Monday platform to bring in, you know, various people to even to show the unity that we are working together as well. But I definitely, and I will be rescheduled with Dr. Powerton, and you'll see that he as was a master mason, a Shriner, and he'll be doing a book review on my book, The Masonic Compass Square, and the connection to measurement and timekeeping. We'll schedule another date. He was originally scheduled for tonight, and due to he had something that come up at work where he couldn't get off and time to do this presentation, his presentation tonight. So that'll be rescheduled, because that was marketed. We had that's in the thumbnail, his picture and the title. So today's, those who are just joining us, we have 15 minutes left. Ancient Christianity is today's title, with myself, Abdullah Il Talimo Sibey, and my special guest, Crip Jesus, King Il. And he's actually a great value to this topic. He and I Brother Mafi of Khalifa Society had me as his guest on his Khalifa Society Instagram page yesterday from 4 p.m. to I think 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time yesterday. And Crip Jesus was on with me for the first 30 minutes. And that title was Ancient Christianity. So I thought it was fitting. And I was just trying to scramble to find someone to bring on, as I found out around 6:30 that or 6:30 or 6:35 that Dr. Powhatan would not be able to come on. So I called a few. I called King Albay. He could not make it. He was a bit tied up. I called a few, and then I said, let me call Crip Jesus, who you on with me yesterday. And this is great. He adds great value to it. So let me since he brought the 5-pointed star, let me address that. My book, the How Her Venus and Moon Rule. You can go to my book, mooresandmasonry.org is my website. This is the book cover of How Her Venus and Moon Rule. Now, the 5-pointed star. Now, though Crip Jesus did mention about the direction it being pointed up, right, pointed downward, and I know people make a point of that. And let me say this, because it starts with 1 point. This is the 5-pointed star. When you see a 5-pointed star, that represents the ending of an 8-year cycle. This is the ending. It takes 8 Earth years to form the 5 points, but it starts with 1 point. This is the 8-year Earth and Venus alignment. So you have your 1 point, 584 days. Venus transitions between the Earth and the Sun. 2 points, 584 days. Venus transitions between the Earth and the Sun. 3 points. Third point, 584 days. Venus transitions between the Earth and the Sun. 4th point, 584 days. Venus transitions between the Earth and the Sun. 5th point, 584 days. Venus transitions between the Earth and the Sun. So it doesn't matter whether it's upright, downward, because it starts with 1 point. It's a cosmological cycle. It's an 8-year Earth and Venus alignment that occurs in 8 Earth years. When you see 5 points, that's the ending of the 8-year cycle. And then it cycles again. So it's 1 point. So it doesn't matter. When one makes the comment about pointing upward or downward, and it means, pointing downward means the subjugation. All right. That's political. That's not cosmological. That's not the first meaning. That's secondary meaning. So when someone says, that's the nation being subjugated, or that is the secondary meaning. That's not the primary meaning. Let me just teach you some etymology and some grammar here. You have what's called surface meaning, subsurface meaning. The subsurface meaning is the primary meaning, or the etymology. The surface meaning is the secondary meaning, or connotative meaning. So I'm giving you the foundation or subsurface meaning, or the etymology or primary meaning. It referencing the the subjugation, that's secondary meaning. Yes, it's a meaning, but it's not primary. The cosmological meaning is primary. The origin of, I'm giving you the origin of the 5-pointed star. Once again, 1 point, 584 days. Second point, 584 days later, transits between Earth and Sun. 504 days later, transits between Earth and Sun. Fourth point, transition between Earth and the Sun. Fifth point, transition between Earth and Sun. That's the cosmological. That's the origin. It's in the sky. It's a cosmological cycle, an 8-year Earth and Venus alignment. That's the primary meaning. And I recall having this discussion with someone in January, and and I broke it down. I'm breaking it to now tonight, and he was so fixated on the secondary meaning. The secondary meaning. Like he had never heard of the cosmological, the primary, ever heard it until I broke it down, and he couldn't get it, but it means the destruction. And I said, no, it doesn't matter how is it pointed, because that's not the origin. It starts with 1 point. He couldn't get it. He was so fixated on the secondary meaning, like someone's fixated on the connotative meaning, so they're locked into that. They're locked into the connotative, or secondary, or that which they learn, first. So, and I understand that. I've been studying and teaching etymology since 1998, and people are locked into like this word slave. Yeah, we are, Dummy Abdullah. What do you mean, Dummy Abdullah? We are descendants of slaves. Or slave, and you show them the book. Slave is an Eastern European nationality. It doesn't mean one who's conquered. It's the Eastern European nationality. Hungarians, Yugoslavian, Czechoslovakians, Slovakians. It's not one who's conquered. We cannot be descendants of slaves. That's a pedigree, a lineage, an ancestry. You're identifying a pedigree, lineage, consanguinity, genealogy, ancestry, lineage, parentage of a people in Eastern Europe. How did it gain its connotative meaning? I'm glad you asked. The Russians, when the Russians conquered the Slavic people, the act of conquest became the connotative meaning. So then they applied the act of conquest to the word. That's a constructive meaning. That's not the etymology. Well, it doesn't mean that. It never stopped meaning that. It never stopped meaning that. So hold on. So the mother meaning doesn't matter anymore. Like, give me the science. Give me the epistemology that, like, what? Show me. Give me somewhere. Where's that based in? That a connotative meaning can override the etymology. Its true meaning, the mother meaning. The mother doesn't matter anymore. Oh, so because you don't live with your mother anymore, she's not your mother? No, she will always love my mama. She won't be in this world. She's not your mother anymore because you don't live with her? The mother meaning, the mother always stands. She's been forgotten. I mean, the etymology has been forgotten, but the etymology always matters. How can a secondary meaning exist without its mother? Like, the mother doesn't matter anymore. Does it mean that now? And Europeans would often ask me that, my European co-workers, does it mean that now? Does it mean that now? Because they know that, does it mean that now? That's where their control is. Their control lies in, does it mean that now? Their control lies in constructive meanings because they construct meanings to what? Subjugate, conquer, to suppress, to maintain control of our land and resources and continue to subjugate us. So the connotative, constructive meanings benefit them. They can't dance with us in the truth,
But
the
let me say this,
etymology.
though. Not to cut you off, but this is something I'm kind of sensitive about because after I wrote this book, I thought this little fact right here would take off like wildfire, and I see I'm going to really press it. If you ask me, the slave, not thing, but the slave etymology, the etymology part of it, right? It's such a heavy conversation. I found, I believe, I haven't proven this yet, but I know I've proven as far as when I hit people with it, they be like, "Ooh, wow!" And when I hit Chat GPT with it, it said, "Oh, why you?" It literally said, "Abdullah, oh, we're not going to talk about that. You shouldn't talk about that." I said, "What the hell is going on?" Yaqub al-Mansur, proving once again that it's a problem with all five of these groups, if you ask me. You know why I don't mention him? Because I don't know why. He just don't fit into the whatever the hell they paradigm. Black Muslim, but don't mention that actual black Muslim. 5%ers don't mention him because he ain't no myth god flying in the air, peace god, fly out the mystery stuff, hero guy. The Moors don't mention him, which is weird to me because even though the prophet gave us everywhere to look, they seem to stay stuck right here. They don't look at the whole pie. If you ask me, a lot of Moors I meet, they don't look at the actual, Moors, which is a big gap of the thing. Where the reason why the prophet gave us to look at Tunisia, Libya, Morocco, Mauritania, others the modern names. Look at the full history of them, and then regular Sunni Islamic brothers who are our background. I don't know why they don't mention this, but there's a man, and his name is so important because his name has been used for this mythical thing for a long time. So I know we've all heard of Yaqub, the big head scientist. That's cool.
Yeah.
But what about Yaqub al-Mansur? To all you Googlers, he's considered on Google the greatest Moor to ever live. So why they ain't Googled him yet? Because that's where I found him, from Google. And then I went into looking into him more and more and more because you can't find anything on him on Google. You got to go deep dives and find books and all that. Did you know Yaqub al-Mansur by himself, of course he had, generals with him and all that, but he was the leader, by himself fought over 300,000 Christians. This is in one battle. It's called the Battle of Alarcos. And in this battle alone, they chained up in groups of 50. So that little stuff they show us in the movie and all the groups of 50 with the chain, that's really them they're showing. Because I haven't found this documented for us. I've seen numbers and stuff, but I haven't seen this right here I'm about to describe. Groups of 50 all chained together by the thousands being shipped to Africa to be sold, to be put to work. This is in the time of the Almohad dynasty, the same time as the Almoravid dynasty. These are all the time.
Almohad, that was 900s.
Yeah, so this is the 900,000s.
Yeah, 900 to 1,000.
Right? So what I'm saying is, this is well before transatlantic slave trade, Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? So this, I don't know what you want to call it, white Slavic trade, right?
Oh,
white
it's frozen.
Trade, the Gothic white.
All right, so
trade.
You with us?
Oh, go
ahead. You're back.
You
You froze that for about 30 seconds.
I don't know what we want to call this, the white Slavic trade, because what I'm saying is the reason this moment in history is so important because these were all Slavs. This is when the word slave became stamped as an official thing. You know what I mean?
That would be called a slave. Now you would say the slave trade.
No, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. I'm saying.
So
if we were to give it a historical time, we could describe it all day. But this actual event represents the first time where thousands and thousands of Slavic people got sent out on ships across at one time from one battle to where it created a whole. You know what I'm saying? This is 300,000 of them at one time. It's created a whole trade of them in Africa.
Oh no, you were asking. No, I'm with you on that. What I'm saying is, it will be proper to say the slave trade.
Oh no, I'm adding on to you. I'm saying yes.
Yeah,
I'm
that would be proper to identify that as the slave trade. That would
exactly. So I'm saying
yeah.
Yaqub al-Mansur, as I break down in the Blue Bible twice. Let me see. I go to it twice in the Blue Bible. How Yaqub al-Mansur is where you get the genesis of this. So 48, you get the Muslim lord Yaqub al-Mansur was the third caliph of the Almohad Empire found by Ibn Tumar. He enslaved thousands of Christians during the Holy Crusades. The captives he took were chained and shipped to Africa, where they were bought and sold. The word slave was derived from their ethnicity, Slavic. In 1798, this is 1,000 years later, right, the French general Napoleon shot the nose off the Sphinx in Egypt during the Battle of the Pyramids. This represented the freeing of the Slav people through the American Revolution and French Revolution. Before the revolutions, the people we now call white were slaves. Now, let's go right here and we'll see.
Yeah, it wouldn't be all of them though.
No, of course not all of them, but enough to where we understand this title, right? So look, during the Holy Crusades, Yaqub al-Mansur captured thousands of Christians. He sold his captives in Africa. From Africa, they were sold as Slavs until given the name free white by the Freemasons in 1790 Rule of Naturalization Act. See what I'm saying? So
let's clear that up though about white. Let's clear that up because they weren't. I hear that, and they weren't giving it during that time.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't giving it during that time period. So just for the audience, I want the audience because it's not Abdullah Bey. It's not Abdullah Bey.
Yeah.
New Division of the Earth, Francois Bernier, 1684. I want the audience, not Abdullah Bey, because I want the audience to know for themselves. I want y'all to, your homework after we get done is to Google Francois, Francois Bernier, Bernier, Francois Bernier, New Division of the Earth, 1684, whereby he classified the human family, white, black, red, brown, and yellow. So the Europeans were designated by Francois Bernier, his classification, white, in the New Division of the Earth. So I just want to go back 170 years before that.
No, yeah, so, I'm being literal. I'm talking about literally the people brought, because what the Free White Act is passed in U.S. in 1790. So that doesn't contradict what you're saying, because what you're saying is 100 years before that. So
I just want to give people the origin because I'm just
they passed it for you, because remember, U.S. didn't even exist in 1684. So I'm saying after 1776 for the U.S., right, in 1790 when they passed it, I'm just saying for what we talking about, right? Those people those Slavics that were being held captive in North Africa, that were freed in the Barbary Wars to U.S., they were brought here and given that status. They were whatever they was there. You know what I'm saying? Whether they were a Sicilian held captive or a Frenchman held captive, like you said, they were designated white, but they wasn't given the status of a free white in America and taught to speak English and all of that.
No, I'm with you on that, but I'm still going back. You saying because that's just for the audience.
I'm just adding on.
I'm just saying for the audience. I know that it wasn't around. United States was not around 1684. Let me continue because I want the audience to know this. The audience needs to know the chronology. 1684, Francois Bernier, New Division of the Earth. Then you have Linnaeus. Linnaeus maintained it in his Systema Naturae, 13 editions, 1713 to 1733. Systema Naturae. Then you have the German anthropologist Johann Friedrich Blumenbach in his book 1752. Forget the title of his book. 1752. He was so colleges actually adopted their works. So just giving a chronology, and it continued. There was others, but these are the three main ones: Francois Bernier, Carl Linnaeus, Johann Friedrich Baumbach, and it also continued. I'm going to post after we get done on my book, my Facebook book. I'm going to post the link and the book cover of the race, the study of race, and it gives you about 50 people, the chronology, and then all throughout the late 1600s, throughout the 1700s, throughout the 1800s, throughout the 1900s. I want to let them know. Go to my Facebook page after as soon as we get done. I'm going to post that so that there's a chronology. But those are the three main ones, but there were others who maintained it. There's over 50 different names over a 300-year period that they maintained it. I just want the audience to know this. I want to arm the audience with the information. All right. So just go to Abdullah Bey's Facebook page. I'll be posting it as soon as we get off. All right. So it's 9:07 now. We've gone past our time. All right. Once again, Crip Jesus, give them your information and where they can find you. Get your book.
You can hit me direct at 213-667-1094. Also, theblackulluminati.com. That's TheBlackIlluminati. Theblackulluminati.com. I appreciate you for having me here. Peace and love.
Yeah. Thank you for ring ancient about the last minute. Once again, Luisa Flores will be the mistress of ceremony, hostess of this upcoming human rights and nationalities conference this Saturday, June 21st, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Brooklyn, New York, at the Brownsville Heritage House. I'll be live and direct in the house. All right. So see you all in New York. All right. So thank you again, Brother Hank, for this platform. Once again, my website, mooresandmasonry.org. Peace, everyone. I will be posting that as soon as we get off. I'm going to look for it. I'll post it on my Facebook page, Abdullah Bey. Peace, everyone.